Hey folks, welcome to the show. This is a playoff pulse check for round 2. It's kind of a late update for one of the series as they're playing right now with Carolina and the Rangers, but since they started earlier than everyone else, it's kind of hard to find a real good time to include them with when other series were only at one game. If I did it last night, that would have been good for the Rangers-Carolina series, good timing, but Vancouver-Edmonton at that point had only played 2 games, so I kind of wanted to wait for all that to be over. So one series it's a bit of a late update or pulse check is what I've been calling it, but whatever, I'll still talk about them. Let's look at the Stars and Colorado series first. I'll just bring up kind of how it's been in terms of scoring lately as I talk about what I've seen, what I've watched, and what I've read. So quick recap: Colorado has a big comeback win over the Stars to win in OT in Dallas. Dallas wins 5-3 in Game 2 and then wins 4-1 in Game 3. So they are playing tonight in Colorado to see if Dallas can put Colorado on the brink. I still think Colorado is going to win the series, but obviously it's a lot closer right now. The Stars are a really well-built team. They have great defense that has been capitalized by Chris Tanev. Jake Ottinger has looked a lot better lately, and Georgiev is showing more and more weaknesses. Those are the big stories, in my opinion, for this series, because we know McKinnon and co can and will score at will. It's just a matter of slowing them down, or at least taking advantage of Georgiev the most, or hoping Ottinger looks like the Ottinger a lot of us fell in love with, and he showed a little bit of that in Game 3. So that's kind of how the series has gone. There's not much revealing information I could bring out here or anything. I did say I still think Colorado's going to win, and that's just because I just think they're too dominant. I think once things get rolling for Colorado, it's over for the Stars, but so far so good for the Stars in terms of stifling that. They just need to stifle that for 2 more games. Alright, going to the next series, that's going to the East, Florida and Boston. Boston is on the verge of losing. They are down 3-1 in the series. They have a chance to do something very funny, and that's by winning 3 straight and upsetting the Panthers the same way the Panthers, or in a very similar way the Panthers did last year. I don't think that's going to happen. The first game was a resounding win for the Boston Bruins, 5-1, but since then it looks like the Panthers might complete a gentleman's sweep. They won Game 2 6-1, Game 3 6-2, and Game 4 3-2. They're going to be playing in Sunrise, Florida tomorrow night against the Bruins for their hopes closing out the series. Swayman hasn't looked as dominant, and that's not entirely his fault. The Panthers team is just firing on all cylinders. It's a very impressive story and play from them. I just think they're too good for the Bruins. And that's not an insult on the Bruins. That's just a compliment for the Panthers. Though it would have been cool to see Swayman take over. Game 4 had some reffing controversy, and the 2 that I saw both involved Sam Bennett. That is the kind of player he is. I understand where Boston's coming from with those decisions, but at the end of the day, they still lost the game. Maybe they could have won if that goal interference call went their way, but we don't know, and that's the only close game that's been of the series. All the other, well, except for Game 1, Game 2 and Game 3, Florida easily handled Boston. So whatever the result of Game 4 could have been, Boston needs to either repeat Game 1 or help Swayman out some more. Obviously, it all comes down to goaltending, because it's about, are you putting pucks in the net without allowing that? So obviously that's kind of a cop-out answer for me, I guess. But still, it's just Bobrovsky's looked a lot better, and that's because he's getting really great help from his defense. Swayman did really good against Toronto, even when his defense wasn't doing too much. But his defense needs to step up. He's kind of, it's forgivable for Swayman to falter, though not desirable, obviously. Then the question is, do we go with Allmark or what? All that kind of stuff. But as of right now, we'll see what decision Montgomery makes. I don't think there's a bad decision between Allmark and Swayman. There's just a better decision, and I don't know what that one is. So I'm not going to bother speculating. But I think a lot of people, including myself, had the Panthers winning the series, and it looks like they're about to tomorrow night. But obviously, only time will tell. Now, going to the series that I think has the most eyes on them. It's a series I hate. I hate so much. It's Vancouver and my team, the Oilers. While in Vancouver, the series left split 1-1. Vancouver won Game 1 by 1 goal. Edmonton won Game 2 by 1 goal. And last night, Vancouver won Game 3 by 1 goal. It's been a very tight series. Nobody has taken over, really. But there's obviously lots of concerns for the Oilers. Any concerns the Canucks have are being not ignored, but overcome, is what I'll say. There's obviously lots of reffing controversy in this series as well, most particularly in those last two games. I don't think reffing changed the results of either game, but it certainly affected the flow, which is very unfortunate. But it's what teams deal with. As soon as one of these teams starts blaming the refs, I think they're going to lose. They have to take responsibility, and there's lots of responsibility to be taken. Watching the last two games, it's clearly the Oilers are the better team, but you don't need to be the better team. You just got to win. And Vancouver is what they're doing. Their plan is to get some goals early and slow down the Oilers as much as they can. They know they're not going to keep the Oilers scoreless, but they can at least get to a quick enough lead to make it too hard for the Oilers to score enough. And it looked like the Oilers were going to make another comeback Game 3 because they made a comeback Game 2. It was Vancouver making a comeback in Game 1. But in Game 2, Oilers had a successful comeback. Game 3, they almost did. They came very close. But there was a lot of heroics from both Canucks defensemen making timely blocks and Sheeloff's making some big saves in the third period. I talked about in my last preview how Sheeloff's and the defense are very in tune. Neither of them are playing phenomenal, but they're both covering for each other very well. If Sheeloff makes a mistake, Canucks defense is usually there. Excuse me. Excuse me again. Canucks defense is usually there to block for him, and if the defense makes a mistake, Sheeloff is usually there for them. And so they were able to keep the Oilers off of the even strength score sheet until the last 76 seconds of the game when Bouchard scored an even strength marker. The Canucks would like to see a better penalty kill, but not sure how realistic that is for them. You're playing an Oilers team whose power play is at its peak right now. And the Oilers' penalty kill has been at its peak, but your best penalty killer, it's been said many times before me and many times after me, your best penalty killer needs to be your goalie. And that's where the discussion comes in. Both Sheeloff and Skinner have struggled in Game 2. Neither of them had good games in Game 1 or 2. Game 3, Skinner had his worst game. Sheeloff had his best game, and it wasn't even close. Sheeloff made well over 40 saves. Skinner made 11. Sheeloff's made 30 more saves than Skinner. That's not okay. Absolutely not okay. I'm a big fan of Skinner, but that is inexcusable. There's no defense for that. Very poor play from Skinner. I also talked about in the review, and a lot of the goals the Canucks score are tough saves to make for Skinner. So it's hard to blame him. It's like, oh, well, that was a tough one to save. But that it becomes a reoccurring thing where it's like, okay, well, you got to make a tough save here or there, right? You're in the NHL, buddy. It's not fair to goalies to ask them to do something crazy exceptional, but that's the name of the game when it comes to being a goalie. Is you have to be exceptional. There's only one of you. You can't and you're the last line of defense. It's kind of why all of us goalies are a little nutty, but still, that's how it goes. Skinner knows that. He should know that, and he's shown he could. He did that against the Kings. Game 2 against the Kings, Skinner was terrible. Excuse me again. And then he closed out the series very well. Even when the Oilers weren't playing very well, the Oilers got dominated in Game 4, and Skinner shut out the Kings. So Skinner is absolutely capable of it. I hope that this is a turnaround that he needs, a wake-up call. He was pulled for the majority of the third period for Calvin Pickard. There's no promise on who's going to start for the Oilers, though it's widely expected that Skinner will still start. That game is tomorrow night. I will absolutely be covering that on this channel and going crazy. Whatever happens, I pride myself on not being too emotional with Oilers games because there's enough emotional Oilers fans. But this series I hate so much. But I can't look away either, and I can't even make a comparison to a car crash or something. It's just because it's not bad. It's a very entertaining series if you don't care for either team. But if you care for either team, it's I'm going to die of a heart attack at my age. Anyways, if you are interested in those videos or other analysis videos, I'll remind you here to subscribe and turn on notifications. And while you're doing that, leave a like on the video if you think I've earned it so far or will earn it with one more series to cover, and comment your thoughts down below. I'll also talk about with the Canucks and Oilers. I'm just going to rephrase in the Canucks game plan is similar to the Stars with the Avs. Is everyone knows the Oilers and the Avs are the better team, but as I said earlier, it's not about being a better team, it's about winning. And the Canucks have won, two of three. 2 more to go for the Vancouver Canucks to a really just great season they're having. But but like I said, it's just about slowing the bleeding and being opportune with the chances you get. Canucks don't get a lot of chances. Oilers are very good at suppressing their chances, but thanks to the efforts of Stuart Skinner and Cody Ceci, the Canucks are able to capitalize. I hope, and for my sanity, the Oilers don't allow the Canucks to continue to do that. But credit to where credit is due, the Canucks have done that. Besser has been great, most notably with a 3-point game last game. So has JT Miller and Elias Lindholm, among others. Zadorov. Anyways, that's it for this coverage. There's one more series to go, and that's the one that is having Game 5 being played. Puck dropping, I think, right now. They take a while. And the Hurricanes, the series is looking a bit more lopsided than anticipated, but that more has to do with momentum than who's actually good or better. I mean, they're both really great teams. I think they're both very similar in capability. Just one team is riding a ton of momentum, and more importantly, a hot goaltender. So the Rangers won 3 games, and then their perfection run, because they swept the Capitals, was ended when the Carolina Hurricanes pulled out a win in Game 4, 4-3. It's the first game in over 2 years, the first postseason game in over 2 years where Igor Shesterkin has allowed more than 3 goals in a game. Hurricanes won that 4-3, and are right now playing for a chance to extend the series once again. Similar to well, I was talking about the Vancouver Canucks and the Oilers, is that none of these games have been a blowout. No teams really had a game where they just took over. Each game has been a hard-fought battle. Game 2 and 3 were both in OT, which the Rangers won them both. Each game, no matter who won, has been a 1-goal game, and that even though the series is 3-1, that should be a testament of how talented these teams are. Rangers have better star power, they're hitting better, their special teams has been better, but the Hurricanes play a very controlled game and are able to get a lot of even strength opportunities in their favor, but that doesn't really mean much when Igor Shesterkin is in net for the other team. He has been absolutely incredible. He's reminding, well, he had a really good year this year, but we were like, well, okay, well, is he going to keep it up for the playoffs? He usually does, and he absolutely has, and this is certainly one of his best playoff performances. He's always good for the playoffs, but I mean, last year he was good. It's just the year before was amazing, and this year he's been amazing too. He had a 50-win game. I think that was game 50 save performance win in game, I want to say 1, I think that was, or game 2. It was game 2, I remember. And Vinny Trocheck has stepped up for the Rangers most notably. So again, not too much to say because there's another game going on here. No groundbreaking information, just kind of me gauging the feelings on all these series. Hurricanes are obviously going to be quite disappointed in losing like this in this round. I think anything short of a cup appearance would be disappointing. In fact, maybe anything short of holding the cup too, just because of all the work that's gone into constructing this roster. There's probably going to be some very notable departures from the Hurricanes this offseason. And at this point, you start questioning, is Rod Brind'Amour the coach? Is, you know, his systems are great, they're just not working. Is the systems more harmful in a way, in that they don't allow his players to be game breakers? Is a question that could be had, because his systems are absolutely better than the Rangers' systems, but the Rangers are allowed to have game breakers in their system. And it doesn't feel like that's super true for the Hurricanes all the time. Aho is a great player, obviously, and there's other guys on the team I really like who can be game breakers, but they're more focused on being efficient, which is great. But once in a while you need somebody to break that system, kind of ignore what your coach says and go score the game-winning goal. I'm not saying you should ignore what your coach says all the time, but you know what I mean. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thanks for tuning in on this just short little update on all 4 series going on in the NHL right now. It's the best time of the year. It's not feeling like it for me because I hate watching Edmonton and Vancouver play, but otherwise it's the best time of the year. I hope to see you in other videos, which you will see if you subscribe and turn on notifications. And once again, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below, and leave a like while you're there.